Next, there's a short paragraph that reads, a Green New Deal must be developed through transparent and inclusive consultation, collaboration, and partnership with frontline and vulnerable communities, which we've previously defined, labor unions, worker cooperatives, civil society groups, academia, and businesses. Okay, so that's the idea that it's not a top-down thing and that the citizens of the country should be involved in these decisions. And then to achieve the Green New Deal goals and mobilization, a Green New Deal will require the following goals and projects. Now, since they already mentioned goals and projects, I think it would be make more sense to call these objectives, but they didn't use that word, so I won't. But I just did. Okay? So A, providing and leveraging in a way that ensures that the public receives appropriate ownership stakes and returns on investment. Adequate capital, providing and leveraging adequate capital, including through community grants, public banks, and other public financing. Technical expertise, supporting policies, and other forms of assistance to communities, organizations, federal, state, and local government agencies, and businesses working on the Green New Deal mobilization. B, that's objective number one. Objective B, or objective A, is objective B, ensuring that the federal government takes into account the complete environmental and social costs and impacts of emissions through 1, existing laws, 2, new policies and programs, and 3, ensuring that frontline and vulnerable communities shall not be adversely affected. Okay, objective C, providing resources, training, and high-quality education, including higher education, to all people of the United States, with a focus on frontline and vulnerable communities, so that all people of the United States may be full and equal participants in the Green New Deal mobilization. Okay, D, objective D, making public investments in the research and development of new, clean, and renewable energy technologies and industries. Public investments, your tax dollars, going to help develop these clean air industries. E, directing investments to spur economic development, deepen and diversify industry and business in local and regional economies, and build wealth and community ownership while prioritizing high-quality job creation and economic, social, and environmental benefits in frontline and vulnerable communities and deindustrialized communities that may otherwise struggle with the transition away from greenhouse gas intensive industries. So E, they're directing investments to spur economic development. This is also taking into account the fact that as might not be mentioned here, but is obvious, if you're putting all your energy into green stuff, then the petrochemical industry is not going to be happy, and the people who work in it. But if you can get them to realize that if they don't change, the planet is going to be gone to them, and that there's going to have to be something. The government should be involved in trying to help that transition. Okay, little editorialization there. I know. So objective F, ensuring the use of democratic and participatory processes that are inclusive and led by frontline and vulnerable communities and workers to plan, implement, and administer the Green New Deal mobilization at the local level. So locally, citizens should get involved and be involved in this decision-making process. Objective G, ensuring that the Green New Deal mobilization creates high-quality union jobs that pay prevailing wages, hires local workers, offers training and advancement opportunities, and guarantees wage and benefit parity for workers affected by the transition. Again, this is about trying to help people who are going to be put out of business or endangered economically by the decline of the petrochemical industry, They want to make sure that we help those people transition into these cleaner industries. H, guaranteeing a job with a family-sustaining wage, adequate family and medical leave, paid vacations, and retirement security to all people of the United States. You can take that for what it's worth, guaranteeing a job. In other words, let's get rid of unemployment. During the New Deal, they had the Works Progress Agency, I think it was called, also WPA, which they called the We Poke Along. And those are the people who built a lot of our bridges and public works buildings because the government hired them and paid them to help rebuild the infrastructure. This was a very successful thing to do, okay? Objective H, strengthening and protecting the right of all workers to organize, unionize, and collectively bargain, free of coercion, intimidation, and harassment. A lot of work was done during the 20th century to make that be the case, and a lot of work has been undone to try to make that no longer be the case. So they're trying to re-strengthen that. Objective J, strengthening and enforcing labor, workplace health and safety, anti-discrimination, and wage and hour standards across all employers, industries, and sectors. Same deal. Objective K, enacting and enforcing trade rules, procurement standards, and border adjustments with strong labor and environmental protections. That includes to stop the transfer of jobs and pollution overseas, and to grow domestic manufacturing in the United States. We don't make much stuff anymore, and they would like us to make more stuff again. Objective L, ensuring that public lands, waters, and oceans are protected and that eminent domain is not abused. Eminent domain is where the government says, hey, we want to build something on your land here, so screw you, we're taking your land. Here's probably half of what it's worth. So eminent domain is something that people are all for if it's happening to somebody else so that they can get something they want, but they're not so crazy about it when it's happening to them. Okay. Objective M, obtaining the free, prior, and informed consent of Indigenous peoples for all decisions that affect Indigenous peoples and their traditional territories, honoring all treaties and agreements with Indigenous peoples, and protecting and enforcing the sovereignty and land rights of Indigenous peoples. One would think this would go without saying unless you believe that you're better than them, which means you don't believe we're all created equal. Okay. Project N, ensuring a commercial environment where every business person is free from unfair competition and domination by domestic or international monopolies. Okay, so another thing, when I was young, there were all kinds of anti-monopoly laws which kept one industry or one media giant from controlling everything and having way too much power for a healthy democracy. A lot of those have been eroded away, and this puts forth the idea that they may have to be reinstituted. Objective O, providing all people of the United States with high-quality health care, affordable, safe, and adequate housing, economic security, and clean water, clean air, healthy and affordable food, and access to nature. And that's it. That's the Green New Deal resolution.